You're welcome to the Optimized Podcast with Osayi Tres Omokaro. This is one of my ways of helping individuals and businesses to optimize so they can earn more and hire more. And together, we're able to reduce unemployment, crime, and criminality in our society. So sit back, relax, listen for that insight that truly transforms because your earning and your hiring matters to us. All right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Optimized podcast with Osayi Tres Omokaro. What we
I'm
do
happy.
here, our goal is to ensure that we help our listeners and our viewers to optimize their lives so they can earn more, hire more, and our collective dream is to see how we can reduce unemployment in our society, which ultimately will result to reduction of crime, and we have a society that supports us all. So it's a pleasure to have you join us today. I will need you to just first take the next 30 seconds to 1 minute to just introduce yourself to our viewers and our listeners.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be with you on this podcast. My name is Igho Orienru. Igho means money. Orienru means goodwill. I am a leadership coach. I also teach. I also train. And these are my passions. I retired 2 years ago from Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. But even before my retirement, I've been in this business of speaking, of training, and of teaching. I was actually hired to head the training school in Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, where I spent about 8.5 years training over 2,500 staff, both technical and soft skills. So that is what I do. Thank you.
All right. Going through your profile, it was so robust, and I thought my first question would be, how do I put it now? Let's take a look at your personal and professional journey. We need you to just take us through that journey from being an accountant to becoming a transformational leadership coach and a peak performance strategist. So maybe you answer it along this line. What actually inspired you to transition from a high level tax administration role in the Lagos internally revenue service to founding your own consulting firm? And with over 30 years of experience, what are the key lessons you have learned about leadership and business success? So yeah, hoping this could inspire our listeners and viewers.
Thank you very much. I did not really transition, they all worked hand in hand because I came from a very humble family. And when I was growing up, I just thought that once I work in the bank, I have made for life. So I opted right from secondary school that I must work in the bank. I ended
All
up
right.
working in the bank. From there, I went to study accounting and also came back to work in the banks from 1989. There were no really career counseling then. So I I was an accounting graduate. I was working in the bank until after a while, I now noticed that my strength is in teaching, my strength is in learning, my strength is in impacting people. It gives me a lot of passion and I get a lot of results. Even in the bank, as a team lead, when I have my team, I teach them, and the principles I will teach them, they will go and apply them. They will even get results before me. Banking
Wow.
became boring. Became so boring that year 2000 I entered. I remember when I became a manager in the Nnamdi Azikiwe branch of the bank. As I entered the bank, something asked me, "What are you doing here?" Because I've seen it all. The same 8 years ago, I was a cashier in the same bank, and I'm back there again. So, as a young man, young executive inside the car with people, you know, I just felt tired until I now stumbled into a book by Miles Moreau, and I knew that, look, purpose is everything. And I did a lot of
Wow.
research and I produced my first book, The Miracle of Purpose, 1999. From there, I knew that my strength is not in banking. So that was how I now pursued training. rigorously. I retired. This is my second retirement. I retired at 40. I started doing my training, as HR consultant. Then my mentor called me to come and revamp the training school of Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. My mentor was the chairman then, Tunde Fowler. So that was
Wow,
how
wow,
I now went back to join him to head the training school. And because I was there, I must be also an expert. So I chose to get the best. I became chartered tax practitioner. I was a fellow. I was a member of the governing council. And up until now, I am still doing tax alongside with
wow,
leadership. So when you see me teaching tax, you will think I don't know anything about leadership. So it's all my gift. I am a part-time lecturer in Unilag. I teach taxation on Saturdays. But
wow,
my primary passion is leadership. That is why I went to certify as a leadership coach. So I do the two side by side. So I am a tax advisory professional. I am a self-mastery coach, and I'm a leadership coach. Thank you.
wow, 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 wow. What an awesome journey. What an awesome journey.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that takes me to my next question, which is leadership and transformation. I also realized going through your profile that you are a John Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach. So, based on that, and based on what you just reeled out to us in the first question, I want to ask what are the biggest leadership gaps you see in today's corporate world, and how can they be addressed? I realize that you have worked with CEOs, executives, and business owners. What are those common leadership mistakes you see them make, and how can they correct them? So these are two questions in one. What are the biggest leadership gaps you see in today's corporate world, and how can they be addressed? Then working with executives and CEOs, what common leadership mistakes do they make, and how can they correct them?
Thank you very, very much. There are a lot of leadership mistakes that CEOs and business owners and even executives do make that I see very common. There's a lot of them, but I want to take one that looks so simple, but it is the foundation. That is, many leaders do not know the meaning of leadership. And when the meaning or the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
It's inevitable.
I want to let you know that many people who call themselves leaders, they are actually managers. They are actually rulers. They are actually technocrats. They are actually people who are just bossing people because they don't know the simple meaning of leadership. So I try to let everybody know that, look, leadership is not title. Leadership is
Yeah,
not the position. Leadership is not the rank you are holding in the office. Leadership is influence. According to my coach, John Maxwell, your
yeah,
ability to influence people to do the right thing, to get result, and to bring excellence and success to the table. So that is why one of the books I enjoy so much by my coach John Maxwell is the 360-degree leader,
yeah.
which means
360-degree leadership.
you
Yeah,
can be a person of influence at any level, whether you are
any
a
level.
cleaner,
Yeah,
whether you are a CEO, whether you are anywhere. Greenfield, the propounder of servant leadership, said that the difference between the doorman and the CEO is their sitting position. But all of them will have one heart, and that is the heart to serve. A good example of true leadership, which is influence, I always give example, it is salt. When you put salt in the soup, it sweetens the soup,
yeah,
isn't it? But will you still
yeah.
be able to remove the salt? No.
Not at all.
So nobody cares who takes the glory. All we want is let us get results.
Service is delivered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a major problem. Another
Wow.
major problem is that a lot of people are selfish, a lot of people are selfish. They refuse to be transformational. To be transformational, I only refer people to our biology days, metamorphosis. By time you see the pupa, you see the larva, you never believe that there's a beautiful butterfly inside.
Yeah.
And at the end of the lava stage, you think that is the end. Then suddenly you will just see one beautiful butterfly. That is transformation. You cannot
Yeah.
be a transformational leader if you do not have in mind to bring in other people, to create succession. One of my late mentors, Archbishop Benson Idahosa, used to tell us when we were growing up. He said, "You can never be adjudged to be a successful leader if you are not
To
succeeded
your
by a successful
successor.
successor." You
Yeah.
understand? So that is another major problem.
No, no, I think we are good with that because, in fact, you even answered the second question I was going to ask. I was going to ask about the definition of transformational leadership and what it embodied, but you already answered that. So let's move on to business strategy and financial management. In your work with corporate strategic plans and organizational design, what factors actually determines whether a business will thrive or struggle? One, two, three factors that
Yeah.
determines whether a business will thrive or struggle.
Thank you. It is very clear when we're working with organizations, the first sign to show that a business will survive is the leadership. Who is the leader? Where is he going? Does he know where he's going? If he knows, is he taking people along? Because one other definition of leadership is that a leader is the one who knows the way,
Okay,
who goes the way,
goes the way
and is showing the
and
way.
shows the way. Yeah,
Are you getting it? So those three.
yeah,
So once you're able to identify a leader, I'm organizing a leadership retreat, and the bosses are sipping tea in their rooms as if the retreat is not for them. That is a sign. That is a very
yeah,
negative. That is a
yeah.
red flag. That's a red flag. I always tell them, no, if you are not ready to sit with me in the hall where we will now develop our plans together, and there is no host bad, in that place, there's immunity to everybody. You say it as it is, and then we now agree on what to go. There's a problem. So that is the first thing. Then the
Okay,
next thing is, do they have a vision? Do they have a mission? A mission is the reason why you exist.
yeah.
So, do you know why you established this, or is it because your father is a billionaire? He now give you some money. You just say, "Let me think
Let
of
me start a
running."
business.
So there must be a mission. The mission is, why do you exist? Then after your mission, there must be a vision. Where do you see yourself in the foreseeable future?
Yeah,
And lastly, there must be a culture. What
yeah.
are those things? What are those behavioral tendencies that we must see? How do we behave here? How do we do things here? Where those things are there and they are enshrined, no matter how small they will start now, such an organization is actually going
That's right.
somewhere. But if those things are not there, those basics are not there, it is just
That
like white
organization will
elephant.
struggle.
Yes, it will
Yeah.
struggle and they
I
might
think
just.
I think I think this is instructional. This is instructional for our viewers and listeners who are currently running businesses. It's not always too late to heed this kind of advice. Go back there and ask yourself, why am I really doing what I'm doing? I know that in Nigeria, a lot of us dabble into business because it happens to almost be the only option, So, but I think listening to this, watching this, it's necessary that we take that time to go back because what's the essence of running with speed when your direction is heading to doom? So, thank you so much, sir. So, we're going to take the very next question. What financial management advice do you have for business owners who want to scale their businesses, but they struggle with financial discipline? What advice do you have for them?
Okay, fine. Peter Drucker said that the most difficult person to manage is yourself. So when it comes to issue of financial literacy, financial management, financial control in terms of business, I always start with the individual. So there's a test I normally there's a tool that I normally use in my leadership training, and it always amazes them. There are about 25 questions that you must answer to find out your net worth, to your savings habit, to see there are several things that must be in place. You plan for your funds before they come to the table, not when you get to the table before you now remember, oh, this house is dirty, I want to paint it. Oh, my shoe has not been good, and that person is in
I need to
trouble.
change it.
Yes. No, 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 no.
Think I think I'm going to host you again. I
Yeah.
will just focus on those 25 financial
Yes.
questions
It will be
because part
amazing.
of
It will
one
be
of the
amazing.
things I want to also do with this podcast is to help people deal with their finances. Today's conversation is a bit generic, so let's deal with all of the general questions. So we're going to come back again to a second session where we'll answer the 5 questions, 25 questions everyone must answer to be successful financially. So let me go straight to the next question. Having worked extensively with in the tax administration, what are the most common tax pitfalls businesses should avoid? Because for a lot of us in Nigeria, I personally believe that our tax administrators are not driving enough. So because of that, a lot of us are laid back. So what advice do you have for business owners so they can avoid those pitfalls?
The the advice I always give business owners is that the taxman is your friend, just like they said the policeman is your friend. And if you are able to go to the taxman, listen to what they say, follow the tax rules, and pay your tax when you're supposed to pay, you are just obeying the civic responsibilities as a responsible citizen. You are not committing any crime. But if you do not do that and the taxman catches with you, then it becomes a crime. So the
Yeah,
first thing is find out what it is and make sure you go straight to the office, look for the manager. Because I remember one time I was in Sheraton answering some questions on tax, and somebody said that, but some of them they take bribe. I said, what do you mean? Jesus Christ had 12 disciples and there was a Judas. We have over
Abby.
2,000 staff. Divide it by 12. So we have so many Judases. That there is Judas does not mean the other nine. So
Yeah,
guide against Judases, guide against those stouts, and know the law for yourself. Go to the website. Thank God for Lagos State. I'm in Lagos State. Lagos State is one of the most civilized state in terms of tax awareness. Go to the website.
yeah,
Know what are the rights of the taxpayer and follow them. I was the pioneer director of the service charter in Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. It's a clear charter on what the customer's rights are and what the tax administrator rights are. Once you know them and you go by them, you pay lesser amount, your business thrives, and again, it helps in investment because nowadays you cannot attract investors
yeah,
without paying your taxes because the two things they look at is, do you have a bank account, and are you financially disciplined in such a way that all transaction goes through the bank and you put
yeah,
yourself on salary. Then the second thing is that, are you tax compliant? If you are
yeah.
tax compliant and you have your books properly kept, your records properly kept, your financial record properly kept, then you can actually attract investment because a point come in scaling your business that you need other people's money, OPM. And
Very,
if
very
you cannot
necessary.
attract other people's money, if you are not tax compliant, and if you don't keep your
Your
books very, very well.
business,
So
your
please, everyone listening to me, go to your tax man, know the tax laws, know when to file your tax returns, and do the proper thing. Especially keep good records because information is the main stock in trade of taxman. You cannot have paper. If you don't have records and you are living very big, you tell me you don't have money. It's a lie. You are
yeah.
driving a G wagon and you say you don't have money. It's a lie. So it is your records that show. It is your record.
Records data don't lie.
And they don't lie. Yes.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you. This session is very educational. Okay, so let's look at the human capital development and peak performance. I'm
Yeah.
picking all of these from everything you do. I realize that you have trained over 22,500 staff members in your
Yeah.
career. So, what are the essential skills professionals need to remain relevant in today's job markets?
Yeah.
because the job market is constantly
Yes.
changing.
Yeah.
What are those essential skills that we all need to remain relevant in today's market?
Yeah. Thank you so much. There are quite a few, but let me start with one that is I know is very, very important that AI cannot take away. I wrote an article on it the other time. I say you need EI plus AI to survive in this present time, and that is emotional intelligence.
Intelligent. Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is a skill that I always, even in my program that is starting up, my sixth core that is starting up next Sunday, it's one of the major giveaway because it is emotional intelligence is your ability to understand your emotions and your feelings and that of the next person, and with a mindset of achieving a win-win position
For
from that
everybody.
relationship and from that transaction. And if you, the propounder of emotional intelligence made it very clear, and with other research, say that even if you made first class, and I've seen it in my consulting, even if you make first class and you are not emotionally intelligent, your business will not go far because intelligence will give you 80%, but emotional intelligence will carry you, intelligence will give you 20%. Emotional intelligence will carry you 80% on your way to success. Intelligence will open the door for you. Emotional intelligence will take you through the door of life and success. So emotional intelligence is the main thing that I would say everybody must have. Are you with me? So tied to that, every other skills might still be needed, but without emotional intelligence, people will not go far. And I've seen it severally. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So let's jump into the next question. That's awesome because no matter how intelligent AI is, sometimes AI does not have emotion. That's why the ATM will debit you and not pay you and still tell you thank you for banking with us. I think that's what makes you
Yeah.
human. That's what makes
Yeah.
you emotionally intelligent, for
Yeah.
you to know how to manage your own emotion and that of the next person. Thank you so much. So, in your self mastery and high achievers program, you focus on overcoming stress and remaining steadfast. What are the top strategies for maintaining peak performance under pressure?
Yeah. Okay. The strategy of maintaining peak performance under pressure.
Under pressure.
Okay, fine. Is personal effectiveness. Personal
Okay.
effectiveness talks about you understanding your energy, understanding your talent, understanding your time, and making the best use of it. Once you are able to understand your energy, your talent, and your time, you allocate them to things of higher values than to things of lesser values. For the things of lesser values, you can delegate, you can delete, you only allocate your time, your energy, and your resources to things of higher value. For
Higher
example,
value. Wow.
this interview is a thing of higher value for me. That's why I canceled the meeting I normally have 8:30 to 9:30 so that I can
Wow.
come in here to talk about what is my passion. If it were not of higher value, there is no way I would say that I would create the time. So people must
Thank you
find
so much.
how to do that. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Our time is fast spent, but we're going to take it down. We're still going to talk about entrepreneurship and your consulting. Then we'll talk about personal branding and influence. But before we go that, how can organizations create a culture that fosters continuous learning and personal growth and professional growth rather?
Okay. In my consulting with organization, I always recommend that every organization must become a learning organization. And for it to
Yeah.
be a learning organization, everybody must buy into learning. Thank God we have learning management tools now that you can even put in your system. And on a daily basis, you can learn 10 minutes, you can learn 20 minutes. Because the day you
Yeah.
stop learning, you're already dead. So it starts
Yeah.
with the organization from the head, like I always say, start from the head, and then it is incorporated as part of their KPIs, their key performance indicators, whereby there must be a place for personal development and application of what you have learned in the system.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
closely tied to learning organization is a growth culture. Because if you are only goal oriented, once you achieve a goal, you are not motivated anymore. But when you are growth conscious, you keep growing. And it is learning that makes you to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. Because part of the laws of growth is the law of elasticity. When an
Yeah.
elastic, a rubber band is not drawn, you just leave the rubber band, it is useless. When you want rubber band to be useful, it is when you begin to draw it. So it
All right.
must be something that must be incorporated right from the head and becomes part of the KPIs and part of the culture of the organization.
Okay. In 1 minute, what do you say to this mindset that most managers or MDs have, that what if after training them, I now lose them? What do you say to an MD who have that kind of a culture?
If such MD, I'll tell them that the day you stop training people and you think you are wasting money, one day you end up employing monkeys. You think they are human beings.
Thank
Because,
you. Because they said when you don't train them, you
yeah,
can't blame them.
at all, yes. So
I will always
if
say things like this. If you train them and you lose them, it's better than not training them, but you retain them and all of you are struggling. So thank you. Now let's take a look at your entrepreneurial journey. So what challenges did you face when starting ROHI Consulting, and how did you navigate them? This is to help our innovators who want to start a business. What are the challenges you face in starting your ROHI Consulting, and how did you navigate them?
yeah, the major challenge started especially when I was not really focusing on it. So you are an entrepreneur, like my friend Ezekiel Solesi used to say. He said that those people who say that entrepreneurship is very easy is a scam. You need to be there, spirit, soul, and body, and
Yeah.
make sure that you build it up first on your own, because the culture, the sustainability, the progress, and everything you want the business to be like, it is you. So it is you that will establish it. You want people to come to work early, you must be there early. You want people to be disciplined in terms of respecting customers, it must be seen in you, because even the staff, they are your customers. So when I noticed that, I just put myself in it totally. And as soon as I put myself in it totally, people started learning from me. And then now you hear people say, this is not how we do it. Oh. This is how we do it. So if you are not ready as an entrepreneur, just go and do 9 to 5, because it is not compulsory that everybody must be entrepreneur. Even that word entrepreneur is a Latin word, to enter in before into the nerve. That is what it means. Enter in before into the nerve, nerve for nerve center of the discipline you are in. So that is
Okay,
just what I
that's
would say. Yeah.
awesome. Thank you. So let's look at this. How should small business owners and entrepreneurs approach financial planning and tax compliance? Small business owners, remember, they're struggling to start and all of that. So what's your advice to them?
Yeah. My advice is similar to what I've said before. In the first place, tax planning is important because it will help you to avoid unnecessary fines and unnecessary
Headaches.
penalties. Secondly,
Yeah.
good records. Even in TVC, I was discussing tax some years ago. I mentioned it. If you keep good record, there's what we call allowable expenses and non-allowable expenses. And you keep records properly. You pay yourself salary for the major expenses for the business. You keep it. At the end, you might end up having a loss. And if the business made a loss that year, the business is not paying tax. But many people do not know. But you don't have records. You're just wasting money.
Yeah.
So when you keep records and you are always going to the taxman to verify, then the laws always change. For example, any of your staff who is under minimum wage, the law says they should not pay tax anymore. So any taxman comes here to say they should pay tax, tell them no, you quote the law. Tell them the law says they should not pay tax anymore. So those are the
Means
two major things that you
it
keep your
means
rate very
awareness, tax
and
awareness is
yeah,
sacrosanct.
yeah, it's sacrosanct.
Tax awareness. And the challenging thing is that because even in our organization, we organized a program one time trying to encourage people to learn about tax and all of that. Do you know that was, in my opinion, I could have counted that as the worst program we ever did. People did not turn out. But the tax authority in the city, FIROS, saw the adverts. They themselves came to actually educate people. So I see that there is a gap somewhere. The authority doesn't seem to be organizing enough events to educate people. Then on the other side, the people are even more afraid of the authority because they see tax as you coming to take from them. But you said something that the tax man is your friend. But it's a very difficult thing to make anybody see that someone who is coming to take my money is my friend. Okay, but that's what it is. So, what are some best practices for structuring a business to ensure long-term sustainability?
For a business to survive, if you look at those businesses that have gone beyond one generation, that are transgenerational, the first thing is make sure that there is a culture of round pegs in round holes.
Round
Let
holes.
who
Wow.
this job fits be the one to take it. It's not my brother, my sister, my children. If my son is not capable, if my son is not proficient, if my son is not experienced to handle this role, then he should not handle it. We must make sure round pegs are in round holes. Then two, there must be proper process reengineering because for every role, the way we do it must be documented, must be taught and discussed, and there should be nothing less than two people that can do the same thing all the time. The day you get a new role, look at the next person and begin to coach the person, whether it's a step or two below you, that's not the matter. Begin to coach the person so that even when you are not in, nothing suffers. That is very so I always fight people go on leave, and when you are going on leave, don't carry the office with you because people will go on leave, they'll be micromanaging, they'll be calling from house. They say, check the drawer, look at that place. No, no, no. When you are going on leave, hand over everything, show us everything, and we lock the door against you. Don't call us. Let the business run
Yeah,
on this.
yeah. I used to say that sometimes founders and business owners are thinking that no other person can do the business like them. But what they don't understand that sometimes even their colleagues may not do it like them, but they may even do it better than them. So I think that's a very sacrosanct advice. When you're going on leave, hand over properly, we lock
Yeah,
the door against you and we
yeah,
continue.
yeah,
So let's quickly wrap this up in another 1 minute. I think you've dished out something I'll call a masterclass for a business owner or for an individual. But in closing, I want to ask, how can my viewers and my listeners, how can they connect with you? How can they know more about you? I know you do series of programs. So how can they learn from you? Is there a website? Are there social media platforms where they can connect even programs you've done in the past, the ones you are doing in the future, possibly recurrently? How can they connect? All right, so you'll have that on the show notes. To reach Mr. Igho Orenru, you have his WhatsApp contact on the show notes where you're able to reach him. What about your social media platforms? Okay, all right. So all of these social media platform, the handles to reach our amiable guest this morning is on the show notes. So, sir, thank you so much. This session was extremely robust. But like I said, I'm going to come back to you for us to do a session titled 25 questions everybody needs to answer for their financial success. So thank you for spending this time with us. We truly appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well done, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.